Today I'm going to speak about leadership, and more specifically about leading in a volunteer organization. And the volunteer organization that I'm going to be speaking about is Toastmasters International. I joined a club in 2018, and I initially joined because I wanted to improve my communication and presentation skills. And I knew after doing my research that it was probably one of the best places to do it. And I really learned a lot. I've learned a lot in the time that I've been there. And certainly I've used it as a tool to improve my confidence through my communication skills. And I've gotten a lot of benefit out of it, and I've seen many people that have as well. I initially joined, I had no idea that there was an opportunity to develop my leadership skills, because that wasn't even one of the things that I was considering working on. When I joined there, I was initially offered a leadership position. So within Toastmaster clubs, there are leadership positions that exist within the club. You can sit on the exco, and there's a few roles that are available. And at the head of that is the president role. So obviously I wasn't going to be taking on a president role as I had initially just joined. So I took on a VP PR, which is essentially doing the marketing for the club. And it was relatively easy because I was working at the time in marketing. So I enjoyed the ability to use my skills for the betterment of the club. And I was there for, I did that role for about a year. And then after that, I didn't really take any further leadership roles within the club. And then in 2021, I was asked by one of the individuals that had been there for a long time whether I would consider being president of the club. And my initial thought was no, because I was already, I had a very demanding job, and I was leading a team, and I really didn't feel like I had any time whatsoever. But the individual that spoke to me is very convincing, and eventually was able to twist my arm, because the club at the time, obviously this was during COVID, was going through quite a lot, and the membership numbers were dwindling. There was not a lot of visitors that were coming to the club meetings, and it was really in a bad position. So she used that as a carrot, and I thought, it sounds like a nice meaty challenge. And I decided to take the role. So I was president for a year, and to be honest, I really learned a lot. It was extremely challenging in the beginning, but I learned a lot. And what I wanted to do on this video today is just share three lessons that I learned in the process. First lesson is that there's no money with these individuals, so it's different incentives that you have with them, and you have to find ways to motivate them to do what you want them to do. As a leader, you need to be able to motivate these individuals. And typically what I found was a lot of the times people were getting into these leadership positions within this organization, and they had typically they had a job, they had a family, they had other hobbies that they needed to take part in, and this was over and above that. So what you were then doing was your Toastmasters and the leadership position within Toastmasters was not really a priority for them at that point. So I had to find a way to motivate these individuals, and I had to find different kind of incentives to go about that. And what I tried to find out was really what these individuals are looking to do. Like, what is their ultimate outcome? Certain individuals might have joined Toastmasters, yes, to improve their communication skills, but at the same time, perhaps they're looking to develop their personal brand. And by knowing that, I could then utilize the opportunities that exist as a marketing role within the club as VP PR, Vice President of Public Relations, and kind of marry that with what their objectives are, and show them that there's ability for them to develop these skills, because it'll then help them in their in their ambition to develop their personal brand. Things that you can marry within the club roles that can then align with what their personal objectives are. So that might be finance related, it might be organizational related, but I really try to find what that personal ambition is and then marry it with the role that exists within the club. And when they are doing that role, you want to ensure that you are praising and recognizing them on an ongoing basis, because that, as recognition, is so important for those individuals. And I would very often praise and recognize them in a public way, in front of all the other club members, and really recognize and call out even the small deeds that they did. And that really went a long way to encouraging them, because again, you don't have money as an incentive for them. So that was a way certainly that I was able to do it. The second thing is that understanding that influence is leadership outcome. It's not something that you can expect immediately. You haven't earned that yet. So you need to be able to do that by leading effectively. And you do that by empowering others, by delegating effectively, by providing them with the support and encouragement when they need it. And over a period of time, and typically that takes a couple of months, it's not overnight, but over a period of time, you'll be able to grow that influence within your team. And certainly don't expect it overnight. But once you are able to demonstrate to them that you are a leader in that position, then you will get the benefit of the influence that comes along with it. The third thing is that accountability starts with you. Early in my leadership journey within Toastmasters, I thought that I could just delegate everything and I would just tell other people what to do, when in fact they weren't really listening to me, because I wasn't myself doing the work. I was just telling everyone what to do without setting the pace for the team. So only when they started to see that I was putting in the extra effort, I was going, and putting in 110%, that they then kind of followed suit. But it was only after I set the pace for them, until they then caught up, and they were then delivering on all fronts as well. So you need to be responsible and accountable, and then they will then follow suit. Those are my lessons leading a team of volunteers within Toastmasters International. But those lessons certainly could be applied to other organizations if you are leading a team of volunteers. I hope you found it useful. So if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.